They shaved my head bald as I entered the boot camp, and that was the start of my lifelong nightmare. At my very first assembly, because I couldn't stop smiling, the drill instructor forced me to kneel and strangle myself with my own hands. I was on the verge of passing out before he finally let go. The following training was pure torture. I was too overweight, so I always fell behind during runs. When handling a rifle, I constantly mixed up left and right. I couldn't even do a single pull-up. Even though I was terrified of heights, I had to keep climbing under the drill instructor's relentless screams. Because I failed to meet physical standards, I was constantly subjected to brutal punishments and merciless humiliation. Sometimes he slapped me hard across the face in front of everyone, but being naturally cheerful, I convinced myself that he was only pushing me to be stronger, and that's why he treated me so harshly. Until one day the instructor burst into our barracks for a surprise inspection. He searched my locker and found a donut. His face turned red with rage, and he declared that from now on, whenever I made a mistake, the entire unit would be punished with me. Then he shoved the donut into my mouth, forced every soldier to do push-ups on the ground, and sent the whole unit outside for more punishment, while making me sit in front and watch. I thought my buddies wouldn't hold it against me, because I had always treated them with kindness. But that night, I was wrong. Past midnight, the entire platoon came for revenge. They wrapped bars of soap in towels, because that way the blows would hurt like hell but leave no bruises. They struck while I was fast asleep. One man held a towel over my mouth, another wrapped a blanket tight around me, pinning me down. Then they came at me one by one, each landing a heavy punch. I was beaten black and blue. Even Joker, my closest friend, was forced to join them. He ended up hitting me the hardest. That night, I cried out in agony until the sun came up. From then on, I never smiled again. I stopped talking to anyone. Instead, I threw myself into training, running drills, building strength, and perfecting my shooting. Slowly, I became one of the best soldiers in camp. I scored at the top in marksmanship, I could assemble and disassemble my rifle with ease, and I ran with speed and endurance. Even the drill instructor started to look at me differently. By the time graduation came, I was a true United States Marine. On the last night of training, I sat in the bathroom with my M14 rifle. Joker, who was on watch, heard something and pushed the door open. I gave him a twisted smile, then stood up, assembled my rifle, slammed in a magazine, and shouted out our Marine Corps drill commands. My cries woke the others, and the drill instructor stormed in, spewing his usual insults and tearing me down with every foul word he had. As I stared at his ugly face, I pulled the trigger and dropped him to the floor. Then I turned the rifle toward Joker, my old friend. But in the end, I spared him. I sat down slowly on the toilet, raised the rifle one last time, and ended my nightmare.